We're going to talk about linear functions today, specifically about linear functions written in slope-intercept form. We are going to talk about what slope-intercept form is so that you can identify it. We're going to do some graphing in slope-intercept form, and then we're also going to talk about the slope and the y-intercept and looking at those on the graph. So first thing you need to know is what is slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is one form or one way to write a linear equation. Now remember that a linear equation has no exponents, so it's just x to the first power. Slope-intercept form is always written in the format y equals mx plus b. In this, m is always the slope, and b is always the y-intercept. So y and x stay y and x, but m and b will be numbers, and those will be the slope and the y-intercept. Slope is in front of x, y-intercept is the constant or the number by itself. So when we're looking at slope-intercept form and we see this on a graph, we can see that the y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. Notice that the y-intercept as it relates to the equation that we're given is this number at the very end here, this 2, which is the constant by itself. The slope is 3. Now remember that every number can be written as a fraction, so this would be 3 over 1, meaning that to do the slope, you would count up 3 and over 1. And you can see that that's what's been done here in the orange, okay? So we can look at a graph and we can find the slope, we can find the y-intercept, and we're going to use these to help us do some graphing as well. So when we are graphing, the first thing we want to do is find the y-intercept and graph that value, whatever that b is, on the y-axis. Remember that your y-axis is your vertical. That's important to remember. From there, we're going to graph the slope. So from the y-intercept, you count the slope either up or down. So up is positive, down is negative, and always to the right. Then third, we're going to continue. So it's nice to make a couple more points by continuing to follow that slope so that you can get a nice couple of points to graph your line through. And then last thing to do is to sketch your line. You connect the points. And the line should always be longer than the points, and it should have arrows at the end. Remember that lines are infinite, and so we want to show that, okay? So let's start by graphing here. Please note that we're going to start with the y-intercept, and that is the constant, which is 4. So I'm going to make a point, 1, 2, 3, at positive 4 on the y-axis. Then I'm going to follow the slope, which is 2/3. Okay, so notice that this is positive 2/3. Meaning that the top is the rise and the bottom is the run. So we're going to go up 2 and we're going to go over 3. But I'm going to do that from my point. So I'm going to go up 2 and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the right. If it was negative, I would have gone down 2 and 3 to the right. I'm going to follow the slope again. So from my point I just made, I'm going to go up another 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3 to the right. Notice I've got 3 points. I might even go back and now follow my slope down 2 and to the left 3 to get another nice point. And then I'm going to sketch my line. So I want you to notice that I'm making my line as straight as I possibly can. I'm drawing it past the points, so it's longer than the points. And then I'm going to put arrows on the end to show that this is in fact an infinite line, okay? Let's try another one. This one is y equals 1/4 x minus 1. So first of all, this is in slope-intercept form, right? I've got my y equals, and I've got my, my b, which is -1. That's my y-intercept. It's over here by itself. And then I've got my 1/4, which is my slope. So now I'm going to graph, and I'm going to start at 1. But notice it's negative, right? So that means I'm going to start down 1 on the x or on the y-axis. Sorry, y-axis, always y-axis. We're going vertically, okay? So I'm going to start at -1 on the y-axis, and I'm going to make a point there. And then my slope is 1/4. So I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 4. And I'm going to do that again, up 1 and to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an exercise in counting. Then I'm going to go back to my point just to get another one. I'm going to go down 1 and I'm going to go to the left 4. Now I've got a nice couple of points here. I'm going to sketch my line and I'm going to draw my arrows on the end, okay? Let's try one more. Notice this time the y-intercept is 3, so I'm going to go to positive 3 and make a point. Now I've got a negative. So what that means is I'm going to go down 4, but I'm still going to go to the right 5. And then I'm going to go down 4 and to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems like a good enough amount, so I'm just going to connect those, make my line, draw my arrows, and there we go. So now we have sketched a line. From here, I could do a bunch of different things. I can find the y-intercept, I can count the slope, I can do some different things, okay? So hopefully you feel like you can identify slope-intercept form. Remember that what you're looking for is that y equals, and then you'll have an x and a number on the other side. Hopefully you can find the slope and the y-intercept. Remember that slope is the coefficient of x and the y-intercept is the number by itself or the constant. And then after this, you feel like you can graph a line by plotting the y-intercept and then following the slope. Good luck with all of your graphing.